Go. Hey, our science guy, Rick Crosslin's here, and Rick, we are talking about poison ivy?
Stuff that could cause you some issues outdoors.
Yeah. This is what we call news you can use.
Okay, all right. Well, let's get into it and
sure.
Tell us about it.
So I spend about 5 months of the year with kids outdoors, and
yes.
You probably ought to know the things that cause problems: hornets, mosquitoes. But Indiana is filled with two things that you should know about. One is stinging nettle, and this is stinging nettle I picked last night. And the stinging nettle, this one's easy to know because if you don't know it after a few minutes, you will know it.
Okay.
This one, it's easy to know because leaves have three different types: either toothed, lobed, or smooth. And so, Randy, what do you think this one is? This one looks toothed. And if you notice these little hairs underneath it, you see all those hairs?
Yeah.
Each one of those are filled with formic acid. The same thing that's in an ant when an ant bites you. I don't know how many ants have bit you, but I get bit.
I've had some uncles go up and not ants.
Now, the stinging nettle grows about 4 to 5 feet, and it's actually has a lot of medicinal purposes. People make tea out of it, eat it, but I know it for, as I call it, my extra counselor, because volunteers? Okay.
Thank you, George.
George, you're probably getting some stinging nettle on you right now. Do you feel anything?
Yes. Yeah. There's a light stinging sensation.
A light sting, yeah.
I want to see. Is it poisonous?
No.
Afterwards, we ask them now.
Or it's not venomous either.
Now, I still feel it now. Is this going to go on for a while?
Yeah, it'll probably about 10 or 15 minutes. But there's another plant usually.
That's better than the rest of your natural life.
Since it's an acid, let's put a little bit of some baking soda, which is more of a base that will actually get rid of that feeling. But some people like that feeling. Like I have a little bit of arthritis, and people use stinging nettle to stimulate your fingers, your hands, and so.
Interesting.
And I've heard all kind of tales about keeping you awake, and I'll pass on. But this grows usually where you find stinging nettle. It's like twice as strong as cotton, so you can actually strip this and make nets or string or rope out of it. It's pretty strong, and it's a good one to know. I always call it my extra teacher. I tell the kids to stay on the trail. If they're stinging nettle, they'll get back on the trail.
That's right.
How's it coming? Is it
It's
still
good. I'm not in any distress.
Going to call in sick tomorrow, George?
Now this plant we're not going to touch, or at least you guys aren't. This is poison ivy.
I heard about that stuff.
Poison ivy, and there's a couple ways to teach students. Number one, the vine. I cut this vine last night out in the woods. And it has tendrils, tendrils is an adaptation for this plant. This plant is going to survive climate change. It's going to survive everything. It grows up a tree. It's a parasitic plant, but it also can stand alone. You can have a poison ivy 6 feet tall by itself, but mostly it's on the ground as ground cover, a shrub. So you have to know if it's hairy, it's scary. So the worst poison I ever got was I climbed a tree in the wintertime and got this on my stomach.
Now you're handling this.
Yeah, well, I'm going to wash my hands with soap, as long as I don't touch my face. There's an oil in it. It's called ursol oil.
Okay.
And that oil causes your skin to react and blister, and some people are really susceptible to it. And my son, his worst case of poison ivy, he petted a dog that had been walking through it.
That's what I've had.
And had it all over him. It ended up getting shots and whatnot. So it's the oil, and the oil is active. Now
we're running out of time.
Okay,
Here, Rick.
if it's 3, let it be. And if it's 3, let it be. The berries are white. If it's white, don't bite. A stairway to trouble. And it's got alternate vines. So this side, left, right, left. A stairway to trouble. And you see those little hairy tendrils on there? So if it's 3,
Amber,
let it be.
Randall, this is what we call news you can use.
Stay away
If it's
from
3, let it be.